Every honeybee fills with jealousy when they see you out with me. You're much sweeter.
Thalassa, without sounding a little more preachy than I already am, sometimes I think the universe brings you what you need at the time that you need it. And our business had been growing, and we were getting busier as people just trying to get through the workday. And one day, Thalassa just walked in the door and she said, "Would you guys like some help?" And we said, "Yeah." And she came in, and we later realized that she's way overqualified for what we're trying to get her to accomplish at the store. But she's just wonderful, and she's really become a part of our Honey Exchange family, and that I mean that in the truest sense of the word family. So if we could bring Thalassa out, I think you will understand what I mean.
Thank you.
I'm standing 8 stories above the Portland Peninsula. It's a beautiful summer evening, and there are terrific views down to the Old Port, the East End with the observatory in the distance, and glittering behind some buildings, Back Bay. City Hall's bell tower is looming and lit up just a rooftop away. And I'm covered in bees. Bees are flying in at me from all directions, 8 stories up on this roof. They catch the light of the lowering sun and glow against the city skyline. The noise all around is a buzzing static. The air, the light, the bees are crackling. 2 years ago, 2 chefs walked into the Honey Exchange with a sweet idea: bees on the roof of the Press Hotel. Chef Josh Berry and Chef Matt Dooley had a vision to support our local ecology and these important pollinators. Any honey that they might eventually harvest would simply be a bonus. So 2 years ago, as a team, we installed 2 beehives on the roof of the Press Hotel, and I'm happy to say that they made it through their first summer and through their first winter. A really big deal for Maine beehives braving the harsh Maine winter winds over 100 feet up in the air. Yeah, thank you. This collaboration has been a really exciting one and an amazing way to spread information about urban beekeeping and their contributions to a healthy city. So honeybees will fly 2 to 3 miles out to forage for food. And so our Press Hotel bees are flying straight out over the roof's edge, and they're out all over the peninsula, to the Western Prom, down to Deering Oaks Park, Top of the World Park, and back to the Press Hotel. They're busy collecting pollen, nectar, tree sap, and water all over the peninsula. Most of the staff at the Press Hotel have a chance to interact with the bees at some point, and it's been really rewarding for me to share my work with their team. It reminds me that most of us have never had a chance to get close to a beehive and might have one or a few misconceptions about honeybees. I remember when Bill, the Press Hotel's building manager, first approached the beehives. He was a bit hesitant at first and wary of bee stings, as most of us would be, I think. But as soon as I explained to him that while the bees were busy and flying around, that they really could care less about him or me or what we were doing, he started to relax and he started to get closer. Pretty soon, without even wearing a veil, he was in the thick of it, taking photos, sticking his bare finger into comb to taste fresh honey. Since that first day, or since those first days, he and the rest of the staff have grown really, really fond of the rooftop bees. And Chef Josh and Bill are up on the rooftop every day, at least once a day, checking up on their rooftop pets. Winters are the hardest as a beekeeper. We're holding our breath, hoping that we did everything right to get our bees through the winter time. The days and the months pass by slowly, with few signs of activity at the hives. I'll even kneel down in the snow and press my ear up against each hive one at a time and strain to hear the faint hum, the buzz deep inside of a cluster of bees keeping warm. On a particularly sunny, balmy January day, I received a video via text message from Josh and Bill over at the hotel. And clicking play, I could tell that Bill was up on the rooftop, pretty close to the beehives, and that there were bees flying around everywhere. And now the beekeepers in the room will guess, the bees were flying around everywhere and relieving themselves on everything. Bees do not go to the bathroom in their own home, how civilized, but instead in the wintertime, they'll hold it in and they wait until a warmer day so that they can go out on what's called a cleansing flight and take care of their needs. So in the video, I can hear Bill with a good Maine accent saying, "There's bee poop everywhere." He's circling this way and that, moving his camera to catch the action. It's all over the roof, all over the beehives, on his boots, of the thousands of defecating bees. All the while, he keeps repeating, "Bee poop, there's bee poop everywhere." And I was so happy to receive this video, because you know you're doing something right when you convert someone else to be crazy, happy, excited at the sight of bee poop. That's when I know the work is working. I'm undoing some of the bad learning most of us do about honeybees and opening a new door. Permission to be curious about this golden, buzzing superorganism. Beekeeping for me is relaxing. It's the regular way that I find to slow my breathing down and be completely present in a task. Notice the wind in the trees, see the light change, and learn the nuance of sound and smell in a beehive. I've been loving these wild things since I was a teenager growing up in Minnesota, where I was lucky enough to apprentice with a local beekeeper during my summer times. Working with honeybees at that age was formative, and I was hooked. My dreams every night had bees buzzing at the periphery, and the memory of catching a swarm far outweighed any stings that I had sustained. Now, as a beekeeper in Portland, Maine, I work for the Honey Exchange, and I run a growing business called Keepers, which I have to add is completely possible through the support of Megan and Phil at the Honey Exchange. Keepers works to celebrate the honeybee and build a community of support so that these important pollinators can thrive. We focus our efforts in the greater Portland, Maine area by providing beehive tours, beehive management services, and live bee removals. These services build a community of honeybee stewards who will in turn advocate for the success of the honeybee. And the idea is to grow that group of honeybee fans, people who might not necessarily want to become beekeepers, but are still interested in bees and beekeeping. We're connecting them with opportunities to get deeper inside a hive and tell their friends. This past year, we added 2 more beehives to the roof of the Press Hotel for a total of 4 hives. And I'm happy to say that they're all doing really well. And we were even able to collect our first harvest of honey this summer. So in September, we collected 30 pounds of honey that was then featured in the inaugural honeybee dinner at Union Restaurant, the Press Hotel's restaurant. And Chef Josh there designed an incredible menu that used honey as a creative ingredient to activate a variety of dishes. Last weekend, we actually pulled some more honey, and I cannot wait to see what Chef Josh creates with that next. One of Keeper's most exciting projects, however, this past year was to install 2 beehives at the Blaine House, the governor's house in Augusta. Yes, there are thousands of government worker bees at Governor Mills's house. And it was Blaine House Director Leslie Oster and grounds manager Jeff Dutil that felt that supporting the honeybee, which is Maine State's insect, by the way, that supporting the honeybee was another way to enact our state's inspiring slogan of Dirigo, meaning I lead. These hives lead the way in making space for the honeybee at our state capital and set an example for the ease with which we can live peacefully alongside honeybees. Governor Mills's excitement has been really, really fun to hear and see. Everything from legislator selfies in front of the beehives to the governor herself emailing the latest article about honeybees. The hives feature the governor's slogan, "Welcome Home," and are seen by all who visit the state capitol. They're pretty close to some pollinator beds and some outdoor seating, and are busy collecting pollen and nectar all over Augusta while nearby humans shape the future of our state. Whenever I'm up on the Press Hotel rooftop, looking out over this beautiful city in this amazing state that I call home, surrounded by thousands of buzzing insects, I feel like that door is continuing to open, and that more and more of our friends and new neighbors are having their minds open to how incredible honeybees are and how crucial our health and well-being are based on their survival. The Honey Exchange has a motto: what's good for the bee is good for me, and this really sums it up. The stronger the health of our honeybee colonies, the stronger our ecosystems will be. The better our food systems will be, and the safer our children will grow up. It's all interconnected in a way that is staggering, humbling. If we're gonna care better for our planet, for our state, and for ourselves, we'll fight for this insect and other pollinators in our yard. Join me on this rooftop and get excited. Honeybees glow in the sunset. The smell of honey is all around, and there is so very much bee poop to look forward to. Thank you.